here? Are you ready to do this? Yeah, just pre-mission jitters. You hear about a place, but you don't need to worry about me. Then let's get this show on the road. Kaiser? Percival, everything green on your ends?
I am ready.
Personal comm should be routed through Kaiser now. You copy that?
Roger, loud and clear.
Perhaps too loud.
Oh, you're a riot robot.
Kaiser, kick it off.
Unlock code transmitted. You may open the gate when ready.
All right. On our way into the city. Percival, where are we heading?
Running the first sweep. Got one. A Sealy's. Not far. Old shipping yard just past the processing plant. Gene samples are probably in one of the containers.
What? That creature. It's dominated. Must be a force nearby keeping it under its sway. Let's put it down. More of them. Clean them up.
Attention.
Guy.
Possible threats in the area.
I hope wherever you store that, the smell will not be an issue.
Safety's off.
Your shipping yard's just beyond the processing plant. Cache with some goodies is towards the rear of the facility.
Kaiser, close enough for you to dial in the location. Are those samples from here?
Yes, they're faint, but I'm detecting multiple valid signatures. I have restored power to the containers.
Jackpot. Get down there and collect as many as you can. spaceport. And the quick route there looks like it got blasted when the port did.
There are steam tunnels under the city, which will allow us to access the spaceport.
What do you... That's right. Kaiser, how did you know that?
I am not sure.
Percival, you see any better option?
Not from where I'm standing.
Then we've got our answer.
Access unlocked. We may proceed.
What
Take
does your
time.
scanner
We
reveal?
don't want to miss anything.
I would move this. Did you need me? Are you sure you must go? The Great Serpent. If I can take a few... Leaving so...
Kaiser, this flora, this is Lazarus plant, isn't it? No, no one even realized it was a living thing until someone got it under a microscope and saw it had cells. Can't be cultivated anywhere but Londinian. Real marvel. leeches. What's keeping you things warm? My God, look at it. A Lazarus in bloom. You know, we might be some of the only... What's happening? Captain, you see this? Oh my God. The heat leeches are terramorphs.
But heat leeches infest every settlement, every corner of the settled systems. That means that every single one... Oh.
You just saw that, right? You would tell me if I was losing my mind. That heat leech became a terramorph. The pests that have snuck onto every planet are baby terramorphs. Heat leeches hide out in ships, sneak away after landing, and then, with time, they transform. We just found out how terramorphs move between planets. That I don't have an answer. But if they share a genome, like most nymphs and adults, the Asylees we'll have to look into. But no, Lazarus plants can't grow anywhere but here, let alone blossom. People have tried. Plus, if what we just witnessed was happening anywhere, what we just saw, it must be some kind of alternate growth method. Pretty major is right. But if what we just saw, if that's possible, the Lazarus plant, it's clearly an accelerant for the terramorph, a heat leech transformation process. Make one into the other in an instant. But that means if anyone knew about this, they could trigger a terramorph spawning. You could sneak a leech into a city, or even multiple leeches, into a place like New Atlantis. Good God. The attack on New Atlantis, does this... Could someone have set that up? But first, you'd have to know the truth about all this.
Well, we're never gonna know if you don't catch that thing. Get after it.
We may proceed.
Go!
that for selling later or personal use?
Uploaded them myself.
Captain, let Kaiser take a look at that sample.
Beginning analysis. It is a match. This suggests with high certainty that the Lazarus plant was used to trigger the attacks on both planets.
There's no way a plant this rare, this fragile, just shows up here, New Atlantis, and Tau Ceti. The transformations on those worlds, they must have been triggered by human hands. Captain, do you understand what it is we just stumbled on here? Exactly. Someone saw the Lazarus plant in action and used it to trigger the attacks.
I wonder where they could have gotten such an idea, deploying alien life forms as weapons.
I wouldn't be shocked to find out our team, in part, inspired the approach, but our group never dealt with something that could have an effect like this. Makes some sense, actually. Tau Ceti was likely their first test, someplace remote where no one would question a few settlers going missing. Ensure the big show, the attack on New Atlantis, would be a success. And the timing of that one, it couldn't have been just luck that it happened right when we were asking the cabinet to do something about the Terramorphs. These attacks, I think someone planned them to set all this in motion. It can't. At least, I didn't think it could. A plant this rare showing up unbidden on 2 different UC planets. I think it's more than just possible that human hands were involved here. But it doesn't answer any of the big questions. Who could pull something like this off? And why?
Let's save the discussion for when you all aren't standing in the universe's closest equivalent to hell frozen over. If we're gonna do anything to prevent more Terramorph attacks, human cause or otherwise, we need that final sample.
Roger that. Kaiser, get us into the spaceport?
The entrance is this way.
We're gonna have plenty to discuss once we get out of here.
Sufficient power to the lock mechanism.
Anyone got ideas where we could get some extra juice?
Local power looks like it was controlled in the security office. Upper floor.
Captain and I can scout it out. Kaiser, see if you can't find another way to get it open.
Roger that. I have restored power to the office entrance. You may proceed.
I was just thinking, what have you got for me? I'm sorry to see you go.
control panel. Still looks operable. Of all the things to survive. Back in business.
Warning. Emergency recorder message detected. Transcription process engaged. Playback initiated.
Admiral Sanon, we need to make the evacuation request.
That's my father he's addressing. He was here? Didn't think he'd have the guts to look those soldiers in the eye before blowing this place to pieces.
Admiral!
It just transformed. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe. Colonel, the troops that closed off the sewers after my evaluation. They're all in this facility.
Other than our casualties, yes, sir.
Good. Get them into defensive positions around the spaceport. No one leaves. I'll send ships as soon as possible.
Thank God. None of us wanted to go down swarmed by those things.
That won't be your fate, Colonel. You have my word.
Transcription complete. Physical copy available.
An invisible weapon. He knew. He knew about the Lazarus plant. Grab that recording. We should talk. Hey, Victus. He destroyed this place. Killed these people to keep what he knew about the Lazarus plant and the Terramorphs and all this a secret. Didn't he? You heard that recording. He saw the potential of the plant as a weapon and hid it away. He killed those people. Condemned this city to keep them from sharing what they might have seen. He was
That is a disgusting way to describe what happened here. Someone who truly knows what it means to command, to be in charge of, and responsible for others would never do such a thing.
He decided to sentence his own soldiers to death. What kind of commander is that? But I guess that's just another part of his sick legacy now. He thought he was protecting us all, taking the secret to his grave. Only he didn't succeed. Now someone else knows about the Lazarus plant and is using it exactly how he feared.
saw the potential of the plan. He killed those...
I sincerely hope you are not suggesting he was justified in his actions. I would not wish to associate with someone who felt he did the right thing.
Hey, Victus. The recording said it all. He saw the potential of the... He killed the... Yes. Exactly what we all thought he was. But I guess that's just another part of his sick legacy now. He thought... Only he didn't succeed. Right. Settled systems are counting on us.
My favorite person. I am grateful for our... I am so grateful for you.
No contacts. Riser, try now.
Unlock successful.
Guys, your sample, it moved. I'd be real careful out there if I were you.
That doesn't sound good. Eyes peeled.
You see
What have you got
anything
there?
useful?
Doesn't look like it. But I'd be real careful out there if I were you.
That is the sample? Come on then. We have to let it.
That sound. What is that?
I think some kind of signal. Raiders linked up. I think you're due for some company.
You cannot be.
The signal that thing's putting out to call in those creatures, I think I can nullify. We're gonna need some help. There should be some radar equipment powered up now around the room. Get those online, and I'll relay my signal through there. Connection received. Broadcasting signal.
Look, it's working. But the thralls, they're attacking the anomaly. Percival, are you doing this?
Stop! Stop! Don't shoot! We're friendly!
That's not me. I'm just filling out the frequency. No signal online.
We freed them, and they're helping us.
I've still got more capacity. Get to the next fish. No signal at full power. That should be the end of its connection to its thralls. Now hit it with everything you've got.
They're not coming after us. I guess we should grab that sample while we can. Good. Now just stash that sample with Kaiser and we're done.
Final sample secure.
All wrapped up. Time to get the hell out of here. Percival, you should unplug and find somewhere we can talk. Privately.
On it. See you soon.
You need something, dearest? I have never been. Goodbye, dearest.
We need to get Percival up to speed on all of this.
Do not worry. These samples are secure.
Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there, but it sounded like this was a success. Got everything we need to put this plan in motion. Can't be positive until we run some tests, but knowing that arguably makes things more feasible. Not
Agreed. Plus, I don't think you're gonna have to push real hard to get folks on board.
But none of that's getting done without the samples. Hey, was worried about that myself, though I know I wasn't nearly as much at risk of limb loss as you all were. Now, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there, but do I have it right that Vay Victus knew about this damn plant?
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond. That's putting it lightly.
But it's clear someone knows about the plant and realized what ends it could be put towards. Captain, we need to get these samples back to the lab and verify we'll be able to handle cleaning up the leeches as well as the terramorphs. But in the interim, do you think you could look into what we uncovered? See if you can turn up any information on who might have committed the attacks?
If it were me, I'd start at the scene of the crime, New Atlantis.
Perfect. Once you've finished your investigation, we'll meet you outside the cabinet chambers. They're gonna want to hear this. Take care of yourself. No telling who might be involved.
So someone's figured out how to use the terramorphs as weapons. Thought we'd learned our lesson.
Visiting a Londinian has left me with a longing for Nira. I did not think this was possible. Best of luck on your fact-finding mission.
We'll meet outside the cabinet chamber.
Always a satisfying moment to return to your ship.
Now, you're not pestering the captain, right, Cora?
Pester? You think
Hello,
I'm
love.
a pest?
Oh, no.
Indeed I do.
Poor choice of words.
I am happy.
Nice to the crew, too?
A good team.
Course.
Take
So
care,
this
love.
book collection fund I heard about?
Don't. You always say,
Don't li- listen to rumors? I will not help. You and I have things to discuss.
Scanned as you enter the city. Please keep moving. By the way, Captain.
And your scan shows...
You should inspect your Nothing for us to do.
Something? Always happy to... You got the money. Buzz off.
Those punk disciples aren't gonna screw around, yeah? You're in luck. Always keep plenty of ammo in stock, too.
What?
Feel like making a purchase?
Just want to say again, best deals. Watch your back out there.
All your hectic
Seems like the cruise.
have your fun. Live your best.
Here at Enhance, we offer a full range of
Teller machines. Galbank ATMs are spread throughout. Each of our unique stores are differently crafted by the Settled System's best engineers and designers.
Keep it moving.
Welcome to Sick Hot. Sure.
I'm working
There
hard,
is
Captain.
no one. If there's anything you need. I know. Thank you, dearest. You are not so bad yourself. I will be thinking about you. I think I prefer the wild planets to this city. At least there. I find comfort in the idea that the odds of something killing us here are... My day is suddenly much improved. Need to see what I'm Come back to me soon, dearest. To what do I owe? I am always willing. I will be here for you, as always.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for? I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could... Now, what in the heavens would make you claim something as ludicrous as that? Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us. You have my undivided attention. Of course. Do I look like I'm in any position to do what you're describing? So I'd very much appreciate your agreement to not share what you found. We wouldn't want anyone else jumping to conclusions now, would we? You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The terramorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing. All in due time. First, I want to... You couldn't be more right. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered once. Halting the spread of the city's terramorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential. These were the final days of the colony war, Captain. The Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. I was concerned that if word got out, the Collective could swoop down, start breeding Lazarus plants, and overrun our worlds with waves of terramorphs. Just like what was happening on Londinian at that very moment. Sealing off the city to prevent mass death, it was the only option that made sense at the time. Simple to say now, but with the outbreak raging from a barely understood source, the moment demanded quick action. So I did what was required. I removed the dangerous variable from an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter. She becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You. Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very... Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. Though now... It wasn't easy. But the beauty of me... They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams, they believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. Slow work. Can't remember the many lives you've taken. Orlays was the man whose death you brought about around the moon of Etheria, the man I had to eliminate. Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the mission to the colonies you two have shown. While, of course, they can't give you a command, responsibility like that has to be earned. The Cabinet does have access to considerable resources. I expect you'll be quite pleased with the result. And none of it would have happened without my intervention. You're being honored only because I arranged the situations where it could happen. Be grateful. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the Terramorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orleza's role in the attacks to the Cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the Cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlez and Orlez alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together. Hunting down criminals and other threats. I expect they'll give me a bit more free range. You would help me, like you did with Orlez. Impossible, though, if the Cabinet learns I'm the one responsible for the attacks. And how many have you killed to get where you are now? There are no great works that don't cost lives, Captain. Whether it's winning a war or digging a tram tunnel. So we sacrificed a few dozen in the attacks to possibly protect millions. That seems like a fair exchange to me. I only hope you'll see the same and leave my name out of the discussions to come. Something amiss, Captain? Well, I do hope you'll keep the larger perspective in mind, Captain. We've done something great here. Let's not squander the opportunity to do more. One detail unaccounted for. And look what happens. I'll tell you why. Because the UC was, and is, full of people unwilling to pay the price required for victory. In the last days of the war, the UC was on the precipice of executing a final great assault on the Freestar Collective home system of Cheyenne. A massive strike, capable of obliterating... I thought I'd had my... But such invasions are costly. Others in the UC believed the blockade would be sufficient to... So instead, they sacrificed far more lives in a protracted war. You'd be right. Everything was in place. But just before we could launch the strike, word came from Londinian. The Terramorph outbreak had begun. I went to the city to assess the state of things, and discovered the Lazarus plant. We couldn't spare ships for a proper quarantine, so it was my decision to destroy the spaceport and seal off the city. Deal with it quickly, so we could get back to winning the war. I had a single ship. What would you have had me do? Ask them and the Terramorphs to form a line? No. I touched down, assessed the... Very well. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called a Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts. I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been designated enemy vessels. But my peers had lost the stomach for it. So many lives lost already, they wailed. So the great UC Navy was routed by a mob. They picked our ships apart. The UC surrendered not long after. And thus rang the death knell for the great UC. You're welcome to whatever opinions you'd like. But had I been what lost the UC the war? I'll tell you why. In the last day, a massive... But just before I went to the city to us, we couldn't spare ship. So upon my... But then the free... I, of course, had no trouble. But my peers, they picked our ships apart. I hope you'll come to the right decision. I'll tell you why. In the last day, a massive... You'd be right. But just before we could I went to the city to us. We couldn't spare ship. You joke. But the scale we were working, that's precisely what it was. A distraction. And I dealt with it as such. Quickly. Definitively. The only reasonable solution. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called a Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts. I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been done. But my peers had lost the stomach for it. They picked our ships apart. It's human nature to see patterns, even when there are none. What ended the colony war was cowardice. Nothing less. We were in the middle of an all-out war, Captain. Committing ships to save the city would have left another undefended. Which city would you prefer I'd sacrificed? Sidonia? Gagarin? New Atlantis? And if anyone else had learned about the Lazarus plant, well, the risk was too great. I weighed the options and made the call. Why, that's the very problem. Harvesting the pollen directly is impossible. Too fragile to leave Londinian's atmosphere. But with sufficient time and resources, a large entity like the UC or Freestar Collective could learn to synthesize the pollen, turning the Lazarus plant into a bioweapon unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Thus why the Terramorphs need to be dealt with. It wasn't solely for the benefit of the Sanan name that I organized the attacks. Our work will protect many lives. Biding your time, then? Biding your time, then?